So yeah, what started off as sorting these out. Next thing was, I better just have a look at the original wiring loom. The armature of the motor. This thing here is called a commutator. That's where the brushes run on. About 10 years ago, I saw someone was actually selling a reproduction one of these, like Monaro muscle parts. So they've got a contact in here, so where the power comes up onto this little board, the power comes across here and then flicks onto here. Other thing that I wanted to quickly show you, so the old KE20 Corolla, when I was pulling everything apart and getting all the stuff outside of the car, so there was something in there that I thought was pretty interesting. There was a little envelope. It says registration license receipt. Welcome to another Resto video. On today's episode, I had all intentions of getting stuck back into the Prem and continuing on with the rust repairs, but sometimes things don't go to plan. Part of that, I wanted to look for some other rust repair panels that I'd previously bought. I knew roughly where they were, but the stuff for the Prem I have in plastic tubs, and over the last couple of years when I've been moving house, it's sort of been jumbled around a bit and it was getting really, really hard to find everything. What started off as pulling a couple tubs off the shelf, ended up turning into emptying most of the stuff out and rearranging it, so I had a bit of a better idea of where it all is when I need to find it. So pretty well got quarter windows and then all dash bits and pieces and then other assorted bits. So I'm in the process of putting it all back in there just so that when I want anything door related, the hinges and window mechanisms, all that sort of stuff, I know exactly where to find it. So it started off as sorting that out, and then these doors here are the original ones that come off the HK Prem. So you can see this one here is like a HK Kingswood or a Belmont door. It doesn't have the screw holes here for where the armrest sits. And then this one here, you can see the screw holes here for the armrest. You can also see this cutout here and these 4 extra screws. That is actually for the electric windows. So this cutout here is for the switch, and then this is where the window regulator sits. And if you have a look on this door here, it doesn't have the screw holes here or up here. And then this hole here is actually where the window winder goes. These are the doors that I'm hoping to use because they're almost rust free. They've had a couple small repairs done, which is a little bit average. You can see how there's a bit of body filler in the corner. And there's a little bit to do on the outside skins, but they're in really, really good condition. The tops of the doors, there's no rust up the top. Well, there's a couple little pinholes there. That's an easy fix. But yeah, there's a couple little fixes. So I'm probably going to do lower skins on these. So come from a couple inches above that body line and just do the whole lower skin, which I'll make up. I'll show you the original doors. So it's all repairable, but I picked up these other doors a few years back and I just figured it would be a lot easier to use the ones that aren't completely stuffed. So this one here, if I was to use them, I'd have to rebuild the entire bottom section of the door. And then you can see it's had a bit of interesting repair work done at the top. You can see it's actually got fiberglass the whole way over the top of the door. So I don't know if that's previous accident damage or if it's their way of doing a rust repair, but yeah. And then the bottom skin, all of the bottom section would need doing. So it would basically be a full new door skin and then completely rebuilding the inside as well. And if I can make these ones work just by drilling those extra holes, I think it's going to be a lot better in the long run. So if anyone isn't aware, HK Prems and Kingswoods actually have a completely different door shape at the back here. So you can't put HTG rear doors on a HK because physically they bolt up, but this gap between where the door handle sits and this body line is completely different. This is a HG Kingswood door that's a bit rotten, but if I sit this one over here, just to give you a bit of an idea, see how the gap from the door handle to that body line is only about 30 mil. When you come over here, it's about 80. So the HKs actually kick up a lot more to where that body line is. So yeah, what started off as sorting these out. Next thing was, I better just have a look at the original wiring room and see how much of this is usable and how much needs replacing, because with this job I want to try and get as much of the work done as I work along the future works, so making sure all the windows work and all that sort of stuff, so that when it comes to assembling the car after it's painted, all of that stuff's pretty well done, just so that it makes it a lot quicker process. I'll bring you back over to the workbench over here. So what I ended up doing is, this is the factory wiring room. See, that's the driver's door switch. And it was a lot neater yesterday when I was working on it, but I've laid it all out, put some power on it, and I started testing all of these factory motors. So when I first started, I could only get one motor to work. One was working fine. I figured I'll pull this other one apart and have a quick look at it. I think it was this one here. Yeah, this is the one I've pulled apart. All it was this is the armature of the motor. This thing here is called a commutator. That's where the brushes run on. This one here is the one from the driver's door, and you can just see how much wear is on it. I haven't been able to get this one to work yet, but this one here basically just pulled it apart, cleaned all this up, cleaned the brushes, reassembled it, and it started working again. So that's all good. This one here I haven't pulled apart yet, so that's the next one to have a look at. But the driver's one's always going to be the one that has the most wear on it. I've had a bit of a look online, and there's some American Chevs and Pontiacs and things like that which use exactly the same motors. So if you have a look on the back here, Delco Products, Rochester, New York, USA, and then they've got the part number there. So I've found ones that have got the same bolt spacing. Obviously there's left and rights, but the part number matches on the front to the back. So if I have to get a couple new motors, so be it, because it's one thing, I want to have all this working properly. So I actually had it set up on the regs. The way that this wiring works is it has a positive feed that comes from the fuse box. That's this orange one here. And then these are all earthed through the doors. So there's no actual earths in the wiring loom itself. All these switches do is just switch two positives. So one positive is one direction, the other positive is the other direction. So it's very, very simple wiring. If you have a look at the actual original switches, the orange cable basically feeds in, and that's a common, so that's the positive, and then it switches one way on the purple, the other way on the green. So it's basically just from common up one way, that makes the motor go one way, down, that makes the motor go the other way. So yeah, very, very simple, but it's one thing I just want to make sure I can get all of this working, so that when it comes to putting it back in the car, I know it's all good and I don't have to put it all in and pull it back out and all that sort of stuff, because that drives me insane when you're trying to do all the stuff, the final fit off of a car, and you come across parts not working. So if I can guarantee all of this is good now, whenever it comes to putting that car back together, I know it'll all work. So that's the plan. I've actually got some little M12 Milwaukee batteries, and believe it or not, these little 3 amp hour batteries are more than enough to run all of this stuff. So if you need to test anything like this, I'll just sort of show you. When I was testing all 4 of them, this is the negative, and I just bolted this to each of the regs, so there was one for each. And this is the other end that I've just snipped off, but I've just put a male spade on it. That one there basically just bolts straight on, and then these spades just go straight into the battery. That's your negative, and then you can get your positive. Same deal, just chuck your positive in, and that gives you your 12 volts to test everything. I could have done it off a car battery, but I had this laying around, so it was much easier, and I had all the lugs and everything. So if you have to test any 12 volt stuff, and you've got some either some Makita or Milwaukee, whatever, batteries like this, makes it pretty easy to do it. So I've just chucked the earth onto the one that I know that's working, so I'll just quickly show you. This one I've got set up on the positive. I've obviously just got the earth set up on there, and then if I chuck this in the battery, you can hear that going that way. Just move this over where you can see it. So chuck this in. It's going that way. And then if I put it on the other terminal, it's going the other way. So now I know that's all working. What I'll do is I'll show you this one here that I haven't been able to get working yet. The other thing that I've found online is there's actually companies that reproduce these door switches as well, but the only thing that I've found is these are die-cast aluminium. All the repos are basically just plastic ones, and I've noticed that these ones have like the nice curved radius edges on them. All the reproduction ones are like a sharp square edge. So if I couldn't get any of this working, there is other options, but if I can get all of these original factory ones cleaned up enough where the chrome's okay, and like this one here is the original one out of the car, I just gave it a quick polish with some metal polish, and that's going to be fine in this car. Driver's one, obviously same deal. I'll just go over it, give it a good clean up. And about 10 years ago, I saw someone was actually selling a reproduction one of these, like a, I have to find the box, but yeah, that was a brand new one. Look at this. Monaro muscle parts. So yeah, I bought that one. I don't think it was cheap. I think it was a couple $100 just for the one switch, but that is the only time I've ever seen one come up for sale. So when I saw it, I just grabbed it. Just in case I couldn't get any of these working, I've actually got a spare new reproduction one that I can use. That's all tested and it's working, and all of these other ones are working fine. I've actually pulled one of these apart before, so I've got these little tabs on them. You can just fold them over, take all the inside mechanism out, clean the contacts, sort of bend the springs out so there's a bit more tension on the springs, put it back together, works perfect. All right, I'll give this one a try and see if I'll show you what this is doing. But when I tested it the other day, it wasn't doing anything. Nada. So what I might do is just quickly buzz this one apart, and I'll show you what's on the inside of them. Have 3 bolts that go the whole way through. And then just gently split them. By the look of it, it's got a fair bit of grease and crap. It looks like this spring isn't actually touching as well. So they've got a contact in here, so where the power comes up onto this little board, the power comes across here and then flicks onto here, and that's actually not touching. So I have a feeling that might be all it is. I'll just give that a little bend down, put it back together and just see if it's going to start working. If it's not, I'll have to look a bit further. Simple as that. If only it was always that simple. So I might only need to buy just one motor. The other three seem to be working okay, which that's, if this has been obviously the driver's door, which has had the most wear and tear on it, then yeah, it's sort of like expected. The other thing that I noticed is the earth brush, when I went to pull this apart, connection on that was really bad. It looks like someone's actually played with this before and tried to solder that on, because there was actually little bits of solder sitting in the bottom of the motor. So it wouldn't surprise me if they've had issues with this before. But yeah, I think because it's pretty bad, I'll try and get another one and yeah, try and reuse the other ones. All right, I'll leave that side of this stuff now. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about is when you're doing projects like this, it can be pretty overwhelming. You sort of come out to the shed and you just like, you look at it and you're just like, where do I even start? And it's been obviously a little while since I've done anything on the Prem, lost a little bit of motivation, but sometimes if you come out here, and I enjoy playing around with the electric stuff, obviously that's my trade, and I've got half an idea how it all works, and sometimes if you can come out here and just tinker away with things that you really enjoy, and it helps get that motivation back to get stuck back into it. And the other thing is, a car that's over 50 years old, everything that's pulled off from when it was stripped however many years ago is going to need some form of restoration, whether it's just cleaning it and repainting it, or for example, these window regulators, all the rollers on them were all seized. So if you can go through, and if you're losing motivation on, say, the rust repairs or whatever part of the project you're up to, you just pull some of this stuff apart, get it all working. These rollers, I've just been soaking in CRC to get them rolling. Sometimes if they're completely seized and they've got a flat spot on them, they'll need replacing. But fingers crossed, these ones, I can get them all working, because it's a bit of a painful job having to drill the rivets out and repin them and put new rollers on them. But if you can get these to the point where they spin nice and freely, should be fine. So I'll go through and I'll do all that, and hopefully next weekend, full steam ahead, get stuck back into the Prem. Yeah, carry on with the rust repairs. The bits that I'm up to are all the really awkward bits, and it's sort of, sometimes you just look at it and you're just like, oh, which way am I going to start? But the best way is just obviously get stuck into it, and before you know it, you're making progress. So that's sort of where I'm up to on that. Other thing that I wanted to quickly show you, it's So the old KE20 Corolla, when I was pulling everything apart and getting all the stuff outside of the car, didn't even see it all at first. Basically just saw the original, just the owner's manual book, that was it. But there's a little plastic sleeve that was hiding in there, and it had a heap of other paperwork. So there was something in there that I thought was pretty interesting. There was a little envelope. It says registration license receipt, 17th of the 1st, 1972. Folded up in that, so that was a sealed envelope. In that is the original sales invoice for the car. Basically, Cogenut Farm and Hardware Supplies. 1 Toyota Corolla sedan, engine number 3K, blah, blah, blah. Frame number KE20 dash, the full frame. So the purchased amount was $2,394. And then the license fee was $75.45. Brings it to a total of $2,469.45. How cool is that? Shows the original license that was paid on it. So yeah, there's a fair few other receipts and whatever that I found in there, but I don't know. I just find all this stuff pretty interesting. So it looks like it was last registered in about 97, and then it spent some time on the farm. I don't know how long it was being used as a farm hack and whatever, but it's the original owner's manual. AMI insurance, I think that one is, for all the different branches. A couple old maps. The original owner's manual for the radio. Shows all the registered service stations for cars back then. And then there's a couple transfer fees. So it looks like the original owner owned it from 1970, so January 1972, and then it was sold on the 16th of the 8th, 95. So they definitely had it a while. Looks like there's an old report from when it went over the pits, which it looks like it's failed, so that's probably why it ended up on the farm. And that was 95. Some other invoices for works that was done on it up in Welshpool. $532 back in 95. Service, $400 odd. So yeah, figured I'd just quickly show you. But yeah, it's pretty cool when you get these old cars and find a bit of history that goes with them as well. Like quite often you get these old wrecks out of, you buy them off Marketplace and pick them up wherever. Like obviously this one come from a farm. But yeah, once you get that car, you've got no idea the history of it or anything. But to actually find some of this still in the original glove box and everything, I reckon it's pretty cool. Anyway, we'll probably finish off there. This has been a bit of a different video just to show you what I've been up to last few weeks. Obviously, I only do this on the weekends. It's just a hobby for me. Work has been crazy busy lately, so yeah, I'll normally be able to get some time over sort of after work during the week to be able to get a few things done, and now it's just limited to about half a day over the weekend to actually get anything done. So it's going to get a bit easier coming up. It's not going to be as busy, but that's just life. But yeah, I know you guys have been waiting to see a bit on the Prem. I will be getting there very, very soon. I'll show you how I'm progressing with that. Also, just wanted to say a massive thanks to all the recent subscribers that have jumped on board for the journey. So the Corolla's obviously sparked a bit of interest, and it's always cool to see. So welcome to the channel. It's not just the Corolla I'll be obviously working on, but I've got lots of other things that I want to tick away with. So follow along for the ride, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks again.